Hi and welcome back to another Tabitha's Glass Emporium YouTube video, and today we're all things miniature. Thank you Dawn Whitehead. I saw a post of yours on Facebook with our amazing daffodils in a beautiful little pendant, and it inspired me to make some miniatures. So we pulled some miniature canes of all the wildflowers, the flowers we've been pulling lately. We've been pulling, pulled some tiny little miniature cane. And we had a little play to make some little miniature flowers. So these ones are all tack fused. And then we did some full fused ones as well. And they're really simple, and I just thought I'd show you how to do them. So I wanted to show you three little samples to start with. I really like doing these in this kind of landscape mode where we've fused a few bits of streaky glass to a piece of white glass. I'm lucky I have a tile saw, so I fused it and then it was in a sort of block like this, and then I cut the edges off to neaten it up. But this is an example of sort of three different ways. So the first one here is basically white on the bottom, three different streakies, then the detail added on top, and it done in one fuse. Now it works fine, but everything spreads out a little bit and you're sort of losing definition on the flower. If you look at this versus this was a pre-fused piece, and then the detail added to the top. The detail is a little bit kind of neater in the end. So and then these two are either you can fire your streaky face up, or you can fire it face down. So on this one, we put the white on the bottom and then the streakies on top and fired it like that. And on this one, we actually had the white on top and the streakies on the bottom and fired it this way. I kind of prefer this. You get a sort of a straighter line, but it's sort of individual taste. You could also not put white on the bottom at all. You could layer up a load of streakies in a kind of pile, and just as long as you're getting your 6 millimeters of glass, and then you won't get this sort of white around the edges. And particularly if you don't have a tile saw, that might be quite a nice way to do it. But effectively, I just cut a piece of white glass to the size I want, and then I've got a load of streakies in a tray, and I pick ones I like. I'm thinking kind of landscapes, of course. The only thing to be aware of this is you'll notice with streakies, they tend to have a line on them. This piece I could put in the landscape, but as you can see, the lines are kind of going this way. It could be fine. There's no need to say that the landscape isn't going that way, but I find I prefer it if I take a piece like this where the lines are going this way in the landscape. So effectively, I just sort of put it up. I probably use a bit of glue just to hold them in place. And then once the glue is dried, it's normally stuck enough that you can flip it over and then just do it on a full fuse. And you can just flip that over the kiln like that onto a bit of thin fire or a prime shelf and fuse that. And then you'll end up with something that looks like this. So again, if you have a tile saw or a grinder, you might want to grind off the edges to make them kind of neat. Or you don't mind. Some of these are ground, some of these, like this one, is just a straight round, which is really nice too. So once we have a pre-fuse or a not pre-fuse, some of these, as you can see, are just a single layer. I quite like to do these tack fused landscapes on a single layer of 3 millimeter glass. It is a bit more tricky for thermal shocking, but I find, particularly with small pieces like this, it's absolutely fine. So you can choose. You can choose to go for a smaller piece like this, or pre-fuse some pieces like this for landscape. Once you've decided on your piece of glass, I'm going to choose this tiny little one here that I made. Well, I'm just going to introduce you to the products we've got. So we've got these miniature murrine in a kind of flower meadow thing. These are basically, that is 15 grams worth, and that is 25 grams worth. You get about 150 to 160 pieces in 15 grams worth, and about 260 to 280 in 25 grams worth. These are a bit more expensive than our normal designer murrine because it takes us well over twice as long to chop them up because they're so small and there's so many of them. We're selling them in 25 gram slices 15-gram slices, or you can buy them with a mix of 15 grams of murrine with 10 grams of small tiny stringers. Now these are slightly like our scrap stringers. They're what's left in the bottom of the box when we send out strings to everyone else. They're perfect for this, but you are going to get some really small little pieces that you're going to think, what can I do with that? There are always things you can do with them. We sell them cheaper than we sell normal stringers, so you are getting a good deal with those. So if I want to make something like this, I would say you really need a pair of tweezers, because it's hard without tweezers. So stick a bit of glue on. Take your stringers and think, oh, I want to do a bunch of flowers that look like this. I always think it's good to do some longer, some a bit shorter. And then choose your murrine. I've got kind of purples going on here, so I might choose these sort of baby forget-me-nots. And with these miniature packs, the more kind of different flowers we pull, these will change. They'll always be kind of evolving and changing. So what's necessarily here is maybe not what you'll get. You'll get kind of other ones with other murrine in them as we pull new and different flowers. And you can do something as simple as that. That's enough. If you think that's 3 murrine, that costs you nothing with 4 bits of stringers. And as you'll see with sort of these ones, that can make a really beautiful pendant. So nice. Or a tiny little card. I'm sure you've seen my things where stick a magnet on the back and then put it in a greetings card. We've got International Women's Day coming up. Think of these as brilliant gifts to give to people for International Women's Day. A bunch of flowers that last forever. We also did, which I love, these are basically our XL murrine, and then we've turned them into little flowers as well, which, as a ring on your finger or as a pendant or a pair of earrings. Some of these are, are in 2s. I think I'm sort of showing you more the tack fuse ones I really love. But the full fuse ones, some of them, like this one, has turned out so nicely because you get the spread of the flowers. I love this little daffodil on this XL murrine. And I think these two, this is a classic example where actually I love the French vanilla with the these gold purple flowers we've done on top and this little leaf. I think probably it would have been better if I'd used 2 layers of French vanilla rather than putting the clear underneath, because it does have this habit of coming up around the sides. So that's always something to think about when you're doing a full fuse. And these would make a great pair of earrings. And they're just all different and all nice. And then these sort of bigger ones, put them in a frame as a landscape. That's, not many murrine at all there cost-wise. And it's basically exactly the same idea as my other kind of poppy landscapes, but just in a miniature. You don't have to use murrine though, guys. If you don't have access to my murrine, you can use bullseye stringers for these. I would go for the smallest ones, the 0.5mm ones, bend them with a candle. You can use frits instead of murrine. Just take your coarse frit and put a little dot of coarse frit on, or make your own frit balls if you want. So there's lots of different ways you can do this without using the murrine. We've done that, of course, with mine because I have loads of them and we like to play with them. But I hope you give this a go and enjoy it, because I think it's a fantastic spring project. And if you like this video, please subscribe.